Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Enhancement and Development Live. I'm your host, Dr. Cassandra Washington, and it is indeed a pleasure to be with you again on a Thursday evening. And we have a great conversation that's going to take place tonight. So I am so excited about it. But I just want to take the time to welcome our guests on tonight. For some of you who may be on here, you are familiar with them, and they're going to help share in the discussion on tonight. This year, we started out talking about preparing to be in 2023. This journey on being who God created us to be and doing everything that we're supposed to do, pursuing our dreams, accomplishing those visions that we have. And so this tonight's discussion is just going to be a continuation and a different twist or addition as to what we can do to accomplish all the things that we want to accomplish this year and to see the manifestation of who we need to be in this season of life. And so tonight we're going to be talking about developing the success mindset with disruptive thinking. And I know you all have been hearing a lot about disruptive thinking, but it is not anything new. It's actually, this concept has actually been around for some time. But I have some very skilled and knowledgeable and professional and experts with me on this evening who's going to help me open up the understanding of disruptive thinking and how we can use it to realize the success that we want in our lives. So we have with us this evening, and I'm going to introduce the lady, beautiful lady first, Mrs. Bernadette Hicks Kelly, who is the CEO of Effective Transformation, and she is a transformation coach, and she is a business consultant. How you doing, young lady?
I am awesome. How are you on today?
Doing great. And of course, we have with us also, he's a spiritual leader. He is a businessman. He's in the entertainment industry, and his name is none other than Ronald McCain Jr. Welcome, my. Oh my goodness! Now, y'all, I tell you, every time Ron is on here, you can get ready for some laughter and comedy because that's one of his gifts as well. And so I am so pleased to have them with us on tonight, and also who's joining us later. And she's here right now. Look at her; she came in right on time. Uh, Dr. Carol Washington.
Right on time.
Um, how y'all doing? I'm sorry. I was trying to I was trying to get somewhere safe because I got called at the last minute to do a case. So y'all please forgive me.
Oh, we do understand. This is a part of life, Dr. Carol. We do
Absolutely.
understand. And she is, Dr. Carol is, and as a matter of fact, all my guests are professionals and at the top of their game in different things. They don't just do one thing, they do several things. And so Dr. Carol also, she's an educator, but she's also a spiritual leader. And she is the founder and CEO of Dr. C. Rochelle Ministries International. And so I just want to say, so these guests tonight are going to be talking from different perspectives because they have to wear several hats and they do several things. And so as I was saying when I first opened up, we're talking about having a success mindset, and it takes, if you're going to excel, if you want to prosper, if you want to be successful, that takes a certain type of mindset. And we're going to talk about disruptive thinking and how that can help you develop the right type of mindset in order to be successful. Success may look like different things for each of us.
Mhm.
Someone may want to be more healthy. Someone may want to be have better relationships. That's success to them. Somebody want to have better business or start a business, a prosperous business. That's success for them. Some just want to be a better, a closer relationship with their creator or with God. That's success to them. So whatever success looks like to you, we're going to share tonight and talk about how disruptive thinking can help you move toward and realize success. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to jump right into it. And so I want us to start off by talking about the perspective of what disruptive thinking is. What is that all about? You want to start us out with that, Run?
Well, and looking at some just a little study, I it's three words that come to mind when we talk about disruptive thinking, and that's breaking the rules. And so, and that's very important because most of us that are in business or in ministry or in some type of leadership role, our job is to identify and solve problems. And so the
Mm-hmm.
very nature that we're in now is disruptive. You look at our political climate. You look at what's going on in Tennessee. You look at what's going on in our, even in the city of Jackson with the garbage pickup and all of those things. The
Wow.
very atmosphere that we're in is disruptive, and so it's a good topic. It's a timely topic, and we're going to learn tonight what it is and how to cope and how we can use that feeling of uncomfort, feeling of being kind of boxed in to come
Mm-hmm.
up with some very innovative solutions. So I think it's a great topic.
Awesome, awesome.
Absolutely.
Did you want have something you want to chime in with, Miss Bernadette?
The only thing I would add with that disruptive is attitude. You know, when you with disruptive, and when we say attitude, attitude isn't always a bad thing. Attitude is a good thing because you have to change your attitude to do something different.
Exactly, exactly. And you talked about attitude, attitude is really a stance or position that you have. And
Absolutely.
Ron, you made a good brought up a good example with what's going on in Tennessee with these young men. That was really out of the box. That was really different. They were not ready for those young men.
They still not ready for them.
No, indeed, that was something that was so different and so unusual. And then they tried to use an old tactic to try to deal with them, but it didn't work. It didn't work.
And matter of fact, Cassandra, it helped. It took a state issue
Mm-hmm.
and it put it on a national platform.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It came across my timeline several times, and the sponsor of the resolution that was trying to get rid of them or expel them, he basically told them, "Y'all having a temper tantrum."
Mm-hmm.
So, so breaking the rules and being comfortable, being uncomfortable, um, you have to admire those young men and the lady
Absolutely.
that was with them. They
Mm-hmm.
broke some social rules, but it was the rules of the house. It was rules that was already established. They set the rules, so they'll tell you, well, you broke the rules, but what they did was they said, you've been disruptive in your behavior. You've been complicit. People walking into schools and killing and murdering innocent children and adults. If that's not a disruptive society, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
they were disruptive in their approach.
Right.
They were disruptive in their approach. They did something to bring about, and that's what my perspective of disruptive thinking is. It's solution driven.
Yes.
I'm going to come up with an answer to a problem or a need that's different from what is now. And
Exactly.
so it stimulates your creative juices. It stimulates your creative juices and have you asking, what can I do? What can I do? What if we do this? What if we do it this way? What can I do? And so those kind of questions stimulates you to come up with a solution
Absolutely.
and an answer. And they kind of push you in a do or die situation. If you think about our society now, and we often mention it all the time when we're on here, COVID caused people, COVID
Yes.
was disruptive.
Yeah.
and,
Very disruptive.
and COVID pushed people to be disruptive.
Absolutely.
You had to
Absolutely.
start thinking totally different. And I mean, you had to think quick. You had to think quick. And it's amazing how people, businesses came into being. People started popping up, people that probably would have never gotten discovered or known. They took to social media, they figured out what to do. Businesses were scrambling, trying to stay afloat. So it was like a do or die situation. And when I
Absolutely.
think about disruptive thinking, I think about Steve Jobs. Somebody mentioned Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs did something with Apple that just catapulted to, way ahead of time.
Mhm.
Just totally changed the trajectory of Apple and just took it to a whole nother dimension. I mean, dimension above the, and up until the time he died, he just kept on, kept on, kept
Yes.
on, just kept on doing it. And then of course I think about, you all probably can think of some other people who used this process to just change companies, to change industries, to just set a new standard. And
Absolutely.
and this is good for, people talk about it for companies and businesses, but you can use this for your own life.
Mhm.
How do you want your life to be? What success do you want to see in your life? Are you willing to do something just crazy, just wow, that nobody else has ever thought of before? And so that's what we want to talk about tonight. And it's already starting off good to me.
Absolutely. So, Cassandra, I just want to add one thing there. How you know you disruptive is when other people gonna let you know you disruptive. They're gonna let you know that you're thinking outside the box. I remember listening to this man who had a business, and some of his employees were doing various things. And he came
Mhm.
on and he was like, "Oh, everybody want to start a business now. Everybody got a business idea now." So because he
Uh-huh.
was losing employees and they were now starting their own business, they weren't returning back to work. And so disruptive thinking affects not just you, it affects everybody around you. And so you know you own to something when you start disrupting how people feel about you.
Yeah. That's a good point. That is true. And that's really what we want to do. I do not like I do not want to go through life humdrum, being bored, and not willing to take risk and afraid to do things. But we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that a little bit more. So I want us to talk about, this is a new, I think about when our parents were younger. They probably never thought that they would see the world the way that it is now. Technology is the driving force behind everything. And so we want to talk about, it's driving the economy, it's driving industries, it's even driving our lives. There was a time you didn't have to have a cell phone connected to you, but now you need a cell phone. You need a cell phone at all times, because a lot of things are done just from that little smartphone in your hand. So we want to talk about how we can use this disruptive thinking to accomplish our goals, just like they're doing in the business industry. And so I found this article by a young lady named Karima Mariama Arthur. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. But she published this article in 2016, and it was published in Success Magazine, and she talked about 5 ways to harness the power of disruptive thinking. And so we're going to talk about these 5 things to kind of give people an idea of what they can do to start using this process. And the first point she made was that you got to challenge the status quo. And we sometimes must challenge the traditional way of thinking. The traditional way of thinking is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Dr. Carol, how do we use disruptive thinking to challenge the status quo?
Wow. And I've enjoyed everything I've heard so far, and I'm so glad I got this question because I often get told uh, that you always challenging something. A disruptive thinker is a challenger. And so when the status quo is, and there are a couple of different things. One, when you say if it ain't broke,
Don't
don't
fix it.
fix it.
Uh-huh.
But I don't agree with that. I say if it ain't broke, break it. Because then it gives opportunity to create something new, to
Mm-hmm.
transform old ways of thinking, to transform a new old method into something new. And then this other one, y'all, that I really thought about was thinking outside the box. We run away with them. Oh man, let me tell you, we run away with thinking outside. Oh yeah, we got to think outside the box. Well, let me disrupt the thinking for just a second. Why do I need to think outside the box when there's so much opportunity inside the box? What we can do is when we're disruptive thinkers just break down the walls of the box and
Mm-hmm.
create something else. We don't have to go outside the box to think. We can think up things inside of the box, create something totally different. I don't have to always step on the outside to come up with something new. Look at those when you were talking about Justin, Double J, just a few minutes ago. They're in Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville area. Those young men didn't have to think outside the box. They were in the box and they broke down walls in what they did and how they stood up to that old, I don't want to use the wrong words on your live. Let's
That
see.
old system. It was a system. It's a
Yeah, that is that, yeah. It was that yeah, that's the nice way of putting it. Me, I want to put it another way, but I'm gonna be diplomatic tonight. It's that old mindset that those black guys, you're too smart for us. So we need to expel you because we don't want you to make us look like we are not smart.
mm-hmm.
So their thinking was inside the box that created some some tension to bust down the walls of the box. Let's not worry about trying to get outside the box, y'all. There's so many things that we can do, because I like to challenge the status quo. What's that other saying is that, well, this is the way we've always done it. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the way we've always done it. So why are we going to try something new? Well, if that's the way you're gonna always do it, you're gonna stick with that, then how about I'm taking my resources somewhere else where they don't mind being transformed into
Mm-hmm.
something that's more pleasant for everybody and not
Mm-hmm.
just your one or two people. And so for me, that's what that from challenging the status quo. I can tell you a whole lot of things that I've done personally to challenge status quos. But I'm going to save a little time for my talking partners that are coming after me. But I think that this is a great topic. I think that if more of us can dare to be different, to dare to take courage, to do the things that you have been uh, stirred up to do, because sometimes we don't challenge things because we are afraid to do it. We need
Mm-hmm.
courage to challenge,
Mm-hmm.
courage to step outside of the normalcy of how things usually get done. You have to be unafraid to question processes and question systems and question. It takes courage. Everybody can Let me not pronounce that. Everybody needs courage to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It takes someone with something that they got down on the inside of them, that just won't let them hold their peace, and they got to say their piece. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the only time that it's the only way we can really bring about a change, a difference. You think if Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had stayed in Atlanta and never stepped out to make a difference. He was a disruptive thinker. He disrupted the status quo. We got several that have disrupted the status quo. Jesus was a disruptive thinker. Okay, so we don't have to go. We don't have to go too far to find people that we can relate to who have uh, taken on the challenge. And you know, the other thing is you got to prepare yourself for the opposition. You got to be ready because everybody is not going to agree with you. And those that start out with you, they will leave you hanging on the limb. So you got to be ready, swing that limb and take that limb and make you a path away over across on the other side. Because everybody is not going to agree with you. They'll act like they will, but be careful, be aware. Because when you disrupt stuff, you know, you done messed up now. You done messed up what we, oh my, okay. All right, I'm going to let that go right quick. Yeah. So thank you for that question.
Well, and so what I hear you saying is, you don't have to. You can start right where you are. You can start right where you are and prepare yourself for opposition and for the challenges. Don't think that you won't have any challenges. You're going to have some challenges, but you can start right where you are. Don't think you got to go somewhere else, but you can start right where you are. And so challenge the status quo. And something like those young men did. And look, you will see, aren't they bringing about a solution? I hear that now that they're talking about how to develop policies to answer the concerns of the people, the safety concerns of the people. So you got to be willing to challenge the status quo. And being willing to challenge the status quo means that you have to come out your comfort zone. Now, Mr. Ron,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you all can piggyback on if you have a comment on what Dr. Carroll had talked about. Feel free to comment, and likewise with you, Dr. Carroll. Ron, in challenging the status quo, you have to come out of your comfort zone to do something. How can we become comfortable as a disruptive thinker? How can we become comfortable with being uncomfortable?
The great Dr. Martin Luther King has been attributed of saying this quote: "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." And so that part of it begins with a thought. The disruptive thinking is I call it the laboratory where change happens. Because if it doesn't, if it doesn't, if you're not passionate about it, change won't happen. And I always tell people this: if you want to find something in a person they're passionate about, bother something that they really love. And most people say, I'm passive, I don't want to get involved, I don't have anything, I just want to live. But bother that woman's child. You'll find that she'll be disruptive because that's something she's passionate about. And for those um, family members and for those parents that have lost children to different types of accidents or whatever, whether it be drunk driving or whatever, substance abuse, that's what a lot of these organizations now are started, because they're trying to address a social issue. They're trying to address something, and they understand that what we're doing is not working.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're trying to go is not working. Those kind of young person called me today about a situation, and they're trying to develop a marketing plan for a conference. And I asked the young lady, I said, "Well, who are you doing this for?" "Well, I'm doing this so I can get permission, so they can." I say, "I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. They're gonna tear it apart because people are like this. If I can't benefit from it, if it's not going to put money in my pocket, if it's not going to bring forward my thought process of they're going to shut it down." But what happens when you become passionate about something? You don't ask nobody for a platform. You don't say, "Well, can I please help get my child out of jail? You're going to stay there until somebody gives you what you need. Just like the woman with the unjust judge. He didn't fear God nor man. But she said, what? I want you to avenge my case. And so what happens in our life, what we are passionate about, what really gets us in a state of there has to be change in this area. There has to be change in our community. There has to be change with our young people. There has to be change in our churches. That's where it starts in the mind, and it fuels the passion. And when the person gets passion, you can't stop them. You can't stop them. Just like with Jesus. Jesus was angry because of the minds of the Pharisees, but he didn't stop, did he? They tried to kill him. They tried to disassociate themselves. Even his disciples had an issue with who was going to be the greatest. But his mind was, I've got to challenge your thinking. I've got to give you a new way. My kingdom is what I'm trying to promote to you. Not religion, not the synagogue, not the law, but I want to give you something that's going to give you life. You don't have to worry about life in the by and by. You can have life now, life more abundantly. And when that's a disruptive thinking, when you talk to the God of the earth, the prince of the air, when you talk to the evil spirits and principalities and dark places, you say, no, you can't have my community. No, you can't have my children. You can't have my family. That's disruptive thinking, and you cannot stop. I'm going to stop right now. Sister Bernadette, go ahead, take it.
That was getting good. That was getting good. That was getting good. So one thing I want to add that they both said is talking about change. When change happens, I want to say two words: change management. You're going to have to know how to manage that change. So when that change happened, and you, as Dr. Carol said, when you're trying to, if you're standing in the box or whether you're getting out of the box, and you know the change is about to happen, how are you going to manage the change that's coming? You're gonna need a process to manage this change. I know when companies call me in and say, I need you to come in, we're making some changes, and we need you to help our staff manage this change or adapt to this new way of life or how we're gonna do things. Can you come in? And we call it change management, because you get executives, you get CEOs, and they struggle with change. And you sometimes got to bring some outside people in to help somebody manage this change, and sometimes we ourselves, even if I'm changing, I might need a Cassandra, I might need a Dr. Washington, I might need a Pastor Ron. Come help me manage this change. I'm struggling with this change. Help me manage. I've seen people move from another state and struggle with moving to another state, change and go to another job and struggle with going to another job because they can't fit in, they can't make friends, and they don't like being by themselves. You got to figure out how I'm going to manage change. As Pastor Ron said, I'm going to let that go right there.
That's good. That's good. You all have said some good things. We have some guests with us tonight. Jamie Washington said, like John Lewis said, you got to be willing to get into some good trouble. You got to be willing to get into some good trouble to be a disruptive thinker. John, how you doing, Jonathan? Jonathan said, hey, guys, he's in. And Lynette Thomas said, yeah, the fuel of passion. Passion will fuel you. Passion will make you think outside of the box.
Absolutely.
Your passion will cause you to be a disruptive thinker. So all of this is just a good discussion. It's a good conversation, you all. I'm loving every bit of it. And so, and a disruptive thinker, you can't be concerned about what people think. You got to go for it. You can't, to be creative and innovative, you cannot allow what other people think to control you and be the basis for your decisions and for what you do. You can't be concerned about what other people think. And you can't run to everybody talking about your ideas. And when you do that, you open yourself up to negative chatter, discouragement, and bad criticism. So you got to be careful who you talking to, who you talk to about it. Those people those three people, it was just the three of them. Other people probably didn't even have the courage to do that. They probably didn't have the courage to do that. You got to be careful who you're talking to, who you with. You got to be careful who you with. And sometimes when you try to tell people who are not at that level of thinking, they will try to project their fears on you. The fears
Absolutely.
that they have, their belief systems, their values, they will try to project that on you and disrupt your success. So you got to be careful about who you talk to. And then when you become afraid, these people put this stuff on you, then you'll become afraid that you're going to fail and you won't pursue it. You
That's
won't go
it.
after it. But you must encourage and motivate yourself with positive affirmations. I can do one of the things I posted on my Facebook today, because I remember the movie about the Clark sisters, and when the mama told Karen, "You can do it. You can sing, girl," and she handed that girl that mic, and that girl just broke out with the song, and she's been going running ever since. One of the best singers in this world.
Yes.
So you got to have the right people around you. You got to give yourself some positive affirmations that will nurture your vision and your dream. And then just think about all the times this whole time that you've been here, there's something you have accomplished.
That's right.
There's something you have solved through to the end, and you saw success. Just remember, I did that. You can do something else. And so when we talk about, when we talk about disruptive thinking, you got to be careful about the people that who are around you, and you can't be concerned about what people say. You can't be afraid and be concerned about what people gonna say, what they're going to think. Not a disruptive thinker, because you will not see the success in your life. That how you gonna do that? You the wrong person. You're not the person that I need to talk to. And so sometimes society, and sometimes even in our personal intimate environment, they have not really fostered an environment where we can have a positive outlook on failure. Because I know growing up and for years, even all into adulthood, way into adulthood, people made failure just look like it was something that was just so terrible. And in disruptive thinking, you can't be afraid of failure. So how do we shift this paradigm concerning failure, Dr. Care?
I was getting ready to say Winston Churchill has a quote that says failure is not final, but it is the courage to get up after you fail. It,
Mm-hmm.
after. So I think Ron was saying something about, about don't worry if you mess up. If you fail
Uh-huh.
at it, just get up and try it again. Because you're not defined by what other folks define you by. It's
Mm-hmm.
You are defined by what you define yourself by. What are the parameters of your life that you're going to say are your standards? What
Mm-hmm.
are your standards for Cassandra? What's your standards for Ronald? Your standards for Bernadette? Are
Mm-hmm.
you going to allow the box, whether inside or out, to determine who you are and what you shall attain? And just like Thomas Edison did, it took him 999 times to finally get that one light bulb to work right. And now we all pay light bills because of Thomas Edison. Okay? We all, we all. Benjamin Franklin put the kite up in the air to get the electricity going. Let me tell you something. These folks that are disrupting things are not thinking about what y'all think.
That's right.
They get up early in the morning, they lay down late at night to make sure whatever it is that they're setting out to accomplish, that it gets done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all right to fail. It doesn't make you a failure. Failings don't make me a failure. Staying
Mm-hmm.
down there and not getting up again makes us failures. But keep trying. All you got to do is just keep trying. Get back up again. All right. So don't worry about if y'all know the Bible story. We always talk about the Bible. When the clay was in the hand of the potter, and while he was making something, when he was making something, it marred in his hands. Uh-huh. But I tell you, he didn't take the clay and throw the clay out. You know what he did? He took it and he made it into something else even more beautiful. So don't worry about not succeeding the first time or the second time. Just get up and find something else you can make. You don't know how to make no good macaroni and cheese? Well, make your cheese sandwich. Okay? Be successful at that. Leave the macaroni and cheese alone for
Leave it
figure it out.
alone.
All right. So it's all right to fail at something. It doesn't reduce or diminish who you are. All right. Thank you.
And Cassandra, I wonder why you laughing, Cassandra. Uh, Macaroni and cheese, that's my subject right there, Dr. Carol. Don't mess up That's one of the first fights I had with my wife. Macaroni and cheese and spaghetti. Don't mess those two things up, praise God. But one of the things I wanted I wanted to add, disruptive thinkers know how to nurture other disruptive thinkers because they know how it feels, one, to be challenged. They know how it feels to fail because they failed at some things. But they also know how to encourage you and how to foster an environment for change because you're not going to change anything that doesn't make you feel uneasy. Change comes because of result of pain, resentment. Sometimes it comes from a source of failure, but it also comes from a passion and a love. Not anybody that has gone through some things, they don't want other people coming behind them to fight those same battles. They want them to be successful. And so with disruptive thinkers, one of my favorite illustrations, true story, I was at church one night and both of my cousins were asleep. Both of them were asleep. One fell off the bench and hit the floor. And my other cousin got up and said, "That's what you get for sleeping at church." Both of them were asleep. And a lot of times that's what people do. When you fall, they'll say, "Hey, you shouldn't have failed, or you was bad, you made a bad decision." But they did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They did the same thing. So really understanding failure, that is the one thing that makes us uncomfortable, is the fear of failure. But when you have passion with that, and then some things, when a person does something to you, it wakes something up in you, and then you don't have fear anymore. I always use it as an example again. Fool with somebody latest child, and then you'll see what they're all about. They'll take their ring off, their earrings, and their wig off, and they'll let you have all you can have. Amen. So when we're trying to challenge the status quo, we're not breaking the rules for something to stay where it is or go back. We want to move forward, and that's what I think is the main result, the main carrot. Those things that we want. We're not just doing this to be weird. We're not doing this just to be different, but we want to impact change for the oncoming people that's coming behind us, and for the young people that's generations that will see the result of our disruptive thinking.
And I like that you said you want to enact change or bring about change that's going to impact generations. This disruption is going to keep going on into the future. And so that's what disruptive thinking does. That's what disruptive thinkers do. They revolutionize. They bring about a revolution. They bring about a total. I'm telling you, I can just keep going back to Steve Jobs changed the industry. He changed it, set a totally different standard. The man is gone, but what he left here totally changed the industry in technology. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. And it may not reach that far in an industry, but what can you do to bring about a revolution in your life? To bring about a total transformation in your life where you will not, somebody can look at you now and then, look at you 5-10 years from now and remember where you came from. Total transformation. This person is just impacting the world. This person is impacting their world, their home, their children, their environment, their community. So we don't have to take it all as far as Steve Jobs and the industry. Yourself, yourself. How can you reinvent yourself where you will never be the same? And I mean in a good way. What you say, brother? That never, never, never be the same. Come on, you guys that's in the chat now. We want to hear from you guys too. What did Jamie say? Jamie said, "Amen." The Black Woman National Anthem. What's the Black Woman National Anthem? Get up and keep going, Lynette says. That's right. That's right. So that's Ron, you all are just making some excellent points. It makes me think about when one of the pastors used to say, when a person get up and preach and talk, they'll either make you want to preach, they're gonna make you want to preach either way, because they didn't do a good job, or because they did such a good job that they got something to say
Hey, Cassandra, it goes back, and I love this because it was a kick in the behind that I needed when Sister Bernadette, Dr. Bernadette, was talking about you in your 50s looking for a mentor. You ought to be the mentor. That was some disruptive thinking in
Yes,
my.
it was.
And so, and what I identified is Bernadette. It helped me because I was dealing with fear.
Mm-hmm.
I was dealing with, Dr. Carol, I didn't have the money or resources that I felt like I needed, but it really was fear. It was fear. And so last week we released our first single. We released it. It's still, it's still in the processing with Amazon and with the other networks or the streaming distributors. But I got up one morning, I told my wife, I'm gonna release it. Whatever happened, I'm gonna release it. So when you talk to other people, their passion, they can help you break out of that box if you need. Dr. Carol, some people need to get out the box.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are others that need to discover what's in the box, because sometimes people hadn't done anything within the box, and then you want to jump out the box, and it's going to be the same thing. If you in the box and outside the box, you ain't doing nothing, you're going to get the same results.
That's right.
But I like what you said, Ron. You break out the box.
You break out the
You
box.
break the box down. You don't need the box.
You don't need the box because it represents walls. It represents limits. It represents the glass ceiling. And so those are the things that help, that, a lot of our people, especially our young people, they're listening to things to motivate them. But when you find your passion, you have to be motivated every day. When you find your purpose and your passion, that's where the disruptive thinking comes, because you saying, I don't have to do this way. Because one, you look at what's around you, and you look at not only what's going on, but you look at the results. And when you're not satisfied with the results of what's going on, that's when change comes about.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I love what you and when you told me about when Bernadette said you don't need a mentor, I laughed at him for a long time. Because that's the truth.
Preach,
You
preacher.
run here and there trying to listen to, you have it within you. You don't have to run here and there to, I'm not saying conferences. I've had conferences. We've had conferences. But sometimes, we run into paying all this money to all these places, and what you need, you got it in you already. You already got it. You just need to take it and run with it. You just need to take it and run with it. And Ronnie, you was talking about that fear, and we should think back big and not shrink from the idea of doing great things. And sometimes it's so great. And I remember I was reading in, I believe it was 2 Chronicles 28, and David was talking to Solomon. He said, look, don't be afraid of the size of the task. That dream may be so big, but don't be afraid. Everything you need, And he did. He supplied up. They had all the gold and people. He said, you're going to have skillful and willing people to help you. And everything that you need is, don't be afraid of the dream. Don't be afraid because it's so big. If he put it in you, I don't care how big it is, he going to just chip at it a little bit at a time. You're going to see yourself a little bit at a time. Just go toward it. Just do it. And fear going to show up. Fear's going to say, when the opportunity comes for you to really go forward in it, how you going to do that? What if this happen? What you going to do? And sometimes it comes, the fear shows up in some of your closest friends. How you think you going to do that? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I remember Devon Franklin said when he stepped out left that Will Smith, and he said, he was like, what am I gonna do? He said one of his best friends would call him every day. Man, you found a job yet? What you gonna do? Man, what you gonna do? He said he had to shut him down. He said he had to shut him down. So we're gonna go to this one with our go to our transformation coach with this one. How can we disrupt the negative path these questions take us on and how can we instead channel this to be unapologetically bold?
Well, first of all, I want to give me a preacher voice like Dr. Carol got, but since I don't, I'm stuck with this voice right here, but I'm going to give me one of them preacher voices, Dr. Carol. I'm going to call you later. So, first, let's talk about fear. And the one thing I like to talk about is, where did the fear come from? So if you think about being a child, you weren't born with fear. You had zero fear. You jump off the top of the ledge, jump out the window, climb out the crib, fall on your head. You would do all these things. Go down the street. We learned to drive 12 years old, 11 years old. You had no fear. So fear comes from somewhere. So I tell everyone, first, if you feel afraid or you feel anxious about something, first thing I want you to deal with is, where did that fear come from? I remember my nieces trying to learn how to swim. And my daughter was teaching my nieces how to swim. And they over in the pool, and my sister was on edge the whole time. Oh, she falling. Don't let her go under. Don't do. And the more fear she had, the more afraid they were. They was like, oh, we can doggy paddle. And so every time they'd start doggy paddling, she would say, no, I see the head going on. I see this going on. And so that fear that she had got on them. They was like, I'm getting out of the water. I'm scared. And that's what happened to us a lot of time as adults. Just what Sister Carol said earlier, a lot of times when the failure, somebody told me I failed. I didn't even know I failed. School system said, oh, you didn't spell this word right. You failed. You go home and show that bad report card to your mom or dad. Oh, you fail. You can't spell. You're not doing good in school. You failing. So without even realizing, somebody is constantly telling you, you failed. And so now that hinders us. We carry that on into adulthood. And so when we want to try something and we have that passion, like Ron said, we get out there, but we have that hesitation. Why? Because somebody told me I already failed at something one time, even if it was failing a test, if it was driving and I failed my driver's test, I failed. So that fear, and every time we hear that word failure, or every time it adds up, it's like a snowball. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The only thing we don't realize is that it's getting bigger. We don't know the fear is getting bigger. But when we get ready to step out and do something, that's when we realize how large fear is. And how do we know? So how I know that I'm afraid, Ron, you hit it on the head, is I want to do it. I have passion to do it. And I love to do it. But I keep making excuses. So every time, you know how it is. I remember wanting to write a book. And every time I went there to write that book, all of a sudden I go in the kitchen. And all of a sudden the dishes need to be washed. I got to wash these dishes. Oh, this floor's so nasty. I don't even know why we live in this house. This floor's so nasty. I got to mop the floor. All the beds need to be made. I had to completely clean the whole house. And it really wasn't that my house was dirty. I was afraid that I couldn't do it. Why? Because I'd never done it before. I'd never written a book before. I had a passion for it and I had a drive for it. I knew I could do it because something in the back of my mouth saying, you can do it. There's a book inside of you. I believe there was a book inside of me. I believe there was more than one book inside of me. But the fear of starting It was just the fear of starting. So I would tell anyone that's listening, if it's something you want to do and you find that you're not doing it or you're procrastinating, that's fear. If you start procrastinating and putting it off, as Ron said, all of a sudden now you budgeting. You don't budget nothing else in your life, but now you got a something you want to do, and now you budgeting. Your light bill behind, gas bill, credit cards behind, but you gonna budget this. Really?
Preach.
That's fear. That's fear. So how do we become bold? The more you do it, courage will come. I'm actually here in Kansas, and we're teaching classes, and we're seeing the students that started with me a couple of weeks ago. Those are not the same students. I remember the couple of girls wouldn't even get up in front of the class, wouldn't even say anything. So today, to see those same people get up in front of the class and have confidence, and you know what they kept doing? Repetition. Do it over and over and over. The more you do it, the courage is going to come. Write the first book, the courage is going to come. Do a planner, the courage is going to come. Do your first fundraiser. And I tell everyone, when people ask me, well, Bernie, how did you step out there? I got my first real check that has some zero, and zeros. And when I got that check, fear left. It was, what? Will I talk? Will I do some consulting? Cassandra, I took the shyness and set it on the shelf. I took the doubt and set it on the shelf. And then as we said, just like people labor you as, oh, you failing at this and you failing at that. Surround yourself with people that's going to say something positive and say something good. This stranger I never met, she started calling me an expert. And I kept thinking, I'm not no expert. Why this lady call me an expert? Well, when I saw that check, I was calling me an expert. I was like, yes, and the expert going to be there next week at the same time. And when I was sending out documentation, I said, I'm an expert in this and I'm an expert in that. What happened? My courage, the more someone said that's who I was, and now I was saying that's who I am. So that's what I tell you. The boldness will come, but you got to surround yourself with some positive people. If you got some naysayers, every now and then I remember listening to Pastor Fernandez, and he said, get out your phone, take your phone out. And he said, start deleting. He said, sometimes some of us got to not delete 1, 2, 3 people. Just pull up your whole Rolodex and hit delete and goodbye. And so, and if you're not bringing nothing to my life and you're always taking, evaluate the people that are in your life. I mean, seriously evaluate the people that you're surrounding yourself with, not just the people. What do you listen to every day? If you say, and I know we love the gospel music, I listen to gospel all the time, I'm getting encouraged, but if that's procrastinating you and making you stay back because you get wrapped up in time, oh, I got caught up in the spirit today, I didn't get to finish that. No, that's fear. You didn't get caught up. Stop. No, you gonna stop listening to that and get you that little frequency music going on. Da, 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 da. Where ain't nothing going on. So evaluate everything in your life, and the boldness will come, and the confidence will come, and the courage will come. And just as Ron said, I'm gonna be quiet because I feel my preacher voice. Carol, I think I'm about to get it, girl. And so, then even if you say, well, I don't have no passion, I don't know what I'm passionate about, you got a skill, take your skill, horn in on that skill, grow that skill, and let that skill work for you. Maybe you can't draw and paint, but you can type. All right, so now you can type. You're a ghostwriter. You got to rename yourself. I do a lot of people resumes, and one lady said, well, I'm a key holder. Well, what's a key holder? I said, no. You're not a key holder. You're the administrator of the in and out situation. That's who you are. You got to change the words, fix it up, reinvent yourself. So maybe, as I remember watching the Jefferson, and she said, I'm not the housekeeper, I'm a household technician. And so sometimes you got to be the household technician. You can't always be the maid. So reinvent yourself, reevaluate yourself, call yourself something different, okay? All right, so I feel it coming on some.
Oh, that was so good. All of y'all just so good. And when you was talking about Bernadette, how you started cleaning up and making up the beds and all that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you something, I often think about the Carol, and I get so tickled. How she said she got that book, and she was saying, ooh, look, I got all of this. Ooh, look what my plan, got your business plan, and got all your ideas written down, and then put the book back down. And you have psyched yourself out and thinking, absolutely, because you got it and read it, and went over it that you have done something,
Nothing.
and you have done nothing but psyched yourself out, sabotaged yourself, and
Self-sabotage.
procrastinated. That sabotaged yourself in a very unique and crafty way. Sabotaged yourself. Now, you put the book back down and didn't take not one step, did not do anything with that vision and that plan you had. And so that's nothing but fear.
Absolutely.
That's fear. And fear of success. For a long time I had fear of success because I knew once I started doing that, it was going to require me to come up to another standard. It was going to require me to take on more responsibilities. It was going to require me to do something different, to come out of my comfort zone and all of that. No, I like where I am. But then at some point, you're going to have to want more. You're going to want, and when you want more, you're going to do something. You're going to do something different. You're going to be trying to figure out what is it that I need to do. You're going to ask your question. And so one of you all said it earlier, it may have been Ron. What's your why? When you get that why, that passion, he talked about how these mothers have lost sons. They started nonprofits, get out in the trenches, working, going around speaking and encouraging and getting involved in social justice issues. Their why is because this happened to my child and I want to help somebody else. I don't want this to happen to nobody else. If I can prevent it, that's my why. This I have experienced this, and I want to keep somebody else from experiencing this pain. And one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life when somebody hurt me, when they hurt me, and when I went through some trouble, those have been caused me to be the most productive. Because that was it opened my eyes to other things, made me realize, brought about some new things in my life that I could do. It was the best thing that happened. And at one time I wanted to give them a thank you card. Thank you for doing that.
I got a few that you can send for me.
Thank you for doing that, because had you never did it, I would not have had you not done that to me, I would not have discovered who I am.
And
Saying
you would
So
not
because you
discover
did that to me,
yeah,
huh?
and you
I
wouldn't
don't have that testimony.
are a disruptive thinker
Say that again now.
without going through those things.
Right.
We would not realize that what we have found ourselves to be was already there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But because we didn't have the courage to break out of the box and kick the sides off, we stayed where we were in our thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because what we were accustomed to thinking and how to think the way we were thinking. So that's what trouble is for. That's what
Mm-hmm.
that's what experiencing antithetical situations are for. That's what it's
Mm-hmm.
for. And if we don't learn the lessons, we will never realize our duendes. So
Mm-hmm.
you've got to understand passion comes from pain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When they
Yeah.
say pressure busts a pipe, well, pressure will bust you into new ideas, and pressure will burst you into new ways of thinking, and pressure will burst you into new situations. Let the pressure come. Okay?
That's right. That's right. We should embrace it. I
And
remember talking at a prep breakfast a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling I decided that the hardships that I'm going through, I'm not going to call them hardships. I'm going to call them opportunities. These are opportunities for me to start exercising some things. These are some opportunities for me to become disruptive in my thinking. Whereas and I saw things this way, or what was just complacent in certain areas. Now I'm sitting down, waking up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, let me see now. How can I make this happen? What do I need to happen? What do I need to see change? I need to see, and how can I make that change happen?
You said
Not if it's gonna happen. Oh, it's going to happen.
You said something very key. And when we read in the Bible, the scripture that talks about how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the gospel,
Mm-hmm.
that simply means opportunity. When you
Mm-hmm.
look it up, when you begin to do the homiletics and go and do the exegesis on the scripture, you will
Mm-hmm.
find out that that scripture is talking about opportunity. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you say, when we have obstacles and things that come in our way, for you to realize that it's not a hardship, it's an opportunity for
Mm-hmm.
me to get from here to there, from this to that, and bring with me all of my experience, all of what I have learned, my successes, my failings. I
Mm-hmm.
bring all of that with me to create these opportunities.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. That's it. That's it. And niece Washington, and niece Watson. I'm looking at Jamie's name and their niece name together. But and niece says stepping stones. That's what they are. Stepping stones. Opportunities to get to where you're going, taking you to that destiny. You're walking it. You're walking it. We talked about earlier, this a journey. This is a journey, and I'm going to appreciate it. Everything, I don't like everything that happened, but everything that's happening is helping to shape me. Dr. Carol used to sing a song for us, y'all. You know, we used to be in choirs and stuff. Dr. Carol used to lead this song called He's Preparing Me for everything that comes in my life. The thing that I can't handle now, He's making me ready. He's making me ready for it. So these hardships or these challenges, these obstacles, our perspective has to change. These are opportunities to get to where you need to be, and these challenges will cause you. I remember Bernadette was talking about when she went through a situation in her life. It caused her ears became more attentive, listening for a chance. She came up and heard that they needed some baskets. She didn't know how to make no baskets, but she started making baskets because there was a need, and there needed to be something needed to be done to be able to meet that need. And a lot of times that's how people come up with new ideas and come up with changing industries. It's because there's a need.
So I
There's a
want to
need.
add one other thing, Dr. Washington, while we're talking. Doctor, how you doing, Dr. Washington? So I want to add one other thing that we do is, why do we do what we do? You ask the question, why do we do, or why do we not change? A lot of time it's not that we don't want to change. Sometimes we so tied to other people's opinion that we're not making
Amen.
change. We're not doing anything different because we're more concerned about what someone else is going to think, how they're going to feel about it. And we have these whole conversations. Well, I know if I show up in a pink dress and it's white Sunday day, then they're going to be saying this about me, and I should have worn that white dress instead of white Sunday. When you really know you don't have the money to go buy a white dress, you should just wear that pink dress because that's what you have. But we're so concerned about what other people do. And if we're not careful and if we don't stop it, we take that all the way into adulthood. You 60 years old, worried about, where you should go worship and who you should go talk to and who you should marry and what should I get a divorce and should I stay married? Should I let this dog go or keep the dog? He done had puppies. All these things we so tied up in. It's not really that we don't want to do something different. We so concerned about other people. And guess what? Some people done died and went on to glory, wherever else they went to, and we still living by rules that they created. And so I would tell anyone, stop and ask yourself, whose rules am I living by? Are these my rules or this somebody else's rule? Whose rules am I living by? And so take a moment, release yourself from all the rules. If you at this time in your life, you 25, release all the rules that everybody else told you and start creating your own rules and know why you doing what you're doing. Know for sure why you're doing that. Know why you're in the career that you're in. Know why you want to marry the person that you're about to marry to. Know why. So it's so many reasons that we need to know the why.
Awesome. I like that. That's right. Know why. Have some clarity.
Yes.
Have some clarity. This has been a great discussion. We're gonna Ron have the final have the final say about this disruptive thinking before we sign off.
Thank you. I've enjoyed every minute. And I was thinking about Joseph and his dream. And he was a disruptive thinker and a dreamer. And I mentor certain young people and I tell them the amount of opposition to what you're trying to do lets you know how deep God's plan is for your life. To take a brother, they really wanted to kill him, but Reuben went back to rescue him and sold him into slavery. But the disruptive thinker was one of the governors of that era.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes me so, what gives me so much hope, not only for myself, but for the younger generation, is God gives wisdom with disruptive thinking.
Mm-hmm.
He, the disruptive thinking says that, hey, this is a era plenteous. Let's save. Let's pull back some. Let's think about tomorrow. Let's not use all of our resources. And so the disruptive thinking puts you in places where God can trust you to make decisions on people that think they're smarter than you. You'll be advising, hallelujah, glory, I feel God's presence. You'll be advising people that come to you for advice because you are a disruptive thinker. He was in prison, he was sold into slavery, but it didn't take away his thinking. It didn't take away his planning. You don't come up with a plan like that just all of your own.
Yes, sir.
You have to be a good manager. And Dr. Miles Monroe, I listen to him like almost every day. Whatever you don't manage, you'll lose. So when we get up, when we meditate, we pray, we ask God for direction. The fear, the more you communicate with God, the more you do, that drives out of fear because the Bible said God has not given us the spirit of fear. And so when we drive those things out by doing what we love, doing what we're passionate, doing what we're skillful at, God is able to use us. And then somebody would know that we've been here when we've gone long before. And so thank you again, Dr. Carol, Dr. Bernadette, Dr. Cassandra Washington hyphen. Thank you again and God bless.
Awesome, awesome. And I just want to say we are living in this day and time. We are allowed to be here in this day and time, and there's something that we're supposed to do. There's something we are supposed to do, and don't allow the status quo. Don't allow what is in the way that this is how they've always done it. If some idea has come to you, go for it. I don't care if nobody else has ever done it before. You don't know nobody else who's ever done it. That's good.
That's good.
Good. Go for it. Go for it. You might be scared and trembling, but just step on out there and start.
Till you stop.
Before we go, there's one of our viewers has a question for you, Ron. She says, "I have written several songs and I have created the harmony for them. What do I need to do to get the songs copywritten, or do I need to get copyrights? Is that the same thing?"
Technically, if you write the song, the moment you put it in a tangible form, audio is technically copywritten. But the step that you do, you can do two ways. One, you can mail yourself a copy of the composition and date stamp it. You send it to yourself certified. They call it a poor man's copyright, or um, a more excellent way is for you to take that audio file, go to the Library of Congress on their website, pay that fee, upload it, they'll send you a copyright form, and that's your physical proof. Because if someone takes your song and you don't have that copyright form, it's going to be hard to win in court. Nicki Minaj had to pay somebody $400,000 for sampling their song and didn't give them proper credit and said money. So that's your copyright is it's an asset. So to answer your question, once you write the song, put it in an audio form. There's a performing rights copyright that you can do copyright for literary work. You can do copyright for artwork. And also, once you do the master recording of that song, the composition, there's another, it's called a recording copyright. So really what you want to do is copyright the melody and the lyrics. I think that's the PR form. So you go to the Library of Congress on their website and they'll walk you through it.
All right, Jamie, I hope that answered your question. That's very good. Somebody else may have a question for our experts on here. That was good, Ron. Good, good, good. And I want you to know it's never too late to start. It's never
Absolutely.
too late to be a disruptive thinker.
Absolutely.
Never too late. Go,
Dr. Washington,
for it.
can I add one thing that I would, when he answered her question, I wanted to add one thing. I was working with a client earlier this month, and I had told her to apply for a job. I told her, when you apply for this job, ask for $85 an hour. I knew they were willing to pay $85 an hour. I told her exactly what to ask for. I said, you need to ask for $85 an hour. I'd gone over a resume. We'd gotten that written out. I walked through, we practiced and everything. I said, I promise you, they will give you $85 an hour, but you have to ask for it. She got on that video chat, started talking to these people, and asked for $70. Now, this is what she said. She asked for $70 an hour, not $85 an hour. I said, why did you do that? She said, I was so afraid, Bernadette. She said, I just couldn't even fathom somebody being willing to pay me $85 an hour. And so when you talked about being afraid to be successful, these are the things that we're talking about. When you're used to making $14, $15, $20 an hour. And so now you're praying for financial increase, and then when you get it, you too afraid to receive the blessing. And so I told her, I said, I understand that. I said, but you're going to have to get past that fear. I said, where'd you get that from? She said, the fear is because I have never been paid that amount of money in my life. She said, so I was too afraid to even ask for it. And sometimes the things that we're talking about we want to do and the things we have passion for is not that we don't have the skill, it's not that we don't have the knowledge. Because we've never done it before, we're too afraid to even go ask for the opportunity to do it. So I just want to share with anyone, if God is giving you something, you have a passion, you have a drive, don't be afraid. When that door of opportunity opens, run through the door and ask for everything possible. So I just want to add that don't be afraid to ask for your worth.
That's right. That's right. Don't be afraid. Step on out there. Dr. Carol, I'm so sorry. I tried to bring you in and it says that you want an audio only. You got a closing remark, Dr. Carol?
No, I've been on here all the time, but you pushed me out. Hold on a second. I was going to tell Jamie all of the songs that she has written, send them all at one time. Don't do it one at a time. Because either you can pay one price for all of your songs, or if you do it like that, it's going to get expensive. So whatever she has already written, do them all at one time. That's what we did. We just took so that if anybody try to use our lyrics, then we have the right to sue. So we sent all of the songs that we had written, and we had them copyrighted of 2015, 14, somewhere along in there. So yes, go to the Library of Congress and take all of your material. Don't do it one at a time. Okay? Don't do it one at a time. Do it all together. As many as you got ready, do them at one time. Save some money.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, Dr. Carol, I didn't know I had pushed you out. I did not want to do that. Y'all see,
Yeah,
she'll
I was
say
just talking. Yeah, I was just talking away, and I was like, "Wait a minute, where I'm at?" Okay, that's okay though. That's all right. I just want to make sure. I just wanted to share that little bit with Jamie.
thank you. See, I
And let,
told you.
let, let
I
me
told you.
also, if you do that, if you do in that manner, you need to name it as a collection of songs. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, you need to name it as collection of songs, um, so they'll know how to categorize that because if you don't, if you just send it as one big file without naming it as a collection of songs, it may be difficult to prove at certain points because they got to keep a record of all of that. And so
And then if she, yeah, that's,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. And
No,
make sure if you do that, uh, if there's anybody that has helped you put together the harmony, if you had a producer on there, you make sure you name those people. Name them, because those same folks that helped you, you don't give them their proper credit, they can sue you too. I've been dealing with this. This is another part of me that I do too, y'all. Okay, so yeah, so do that, and make sure if you're the only producer, writer, make sure that you know all of that information. Say it, so when you copyright it, it's a legally binding document, and nobody can take that away from you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I told y'all at the beginning that these people on here are experts in different areas. So they don't just do one thing. They do a lot of things well. See, there she goes again. Dr. Carol.
All I did just turn off the camera, but I'm still here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there we go. Got to learn this. Yeah, cause I'm driving, so that's why I'm just trying to be safe.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Jamie said, thank you. Yes, the same thing with your poems, Jamie. Same
Yes,
thing. He said that, yeah, same thing with your poems. All right. This has been great. And I just wanted to reiterate, you're alive at this time. You're in this particular time. God allowed you to be on this earth at this particular time. You got something to do. You have something to offer. You have something of great value.
that's right.
Value. And all the information that has been shared tonight, the experiences, the information, I believe you have enough to get started. Go and disrupt something in a good way.
That's right.
In a good way. And maybe you need to disrupt your life in a good way.
Yes.
In a good way. It has been great. I'm so glad that you all joined me tonight. I want to say thank you to uh, Transformation Coach Bernadette Hicks Kelly, to Dr. Evangelist C. Rochelle. She's every morning. Let me tell y'all how you could, these people are doing some great things. They're doing some great things. So, Dr. C. Rochelle is on every morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. You need prayer, you need encouragement, you need inspiration. You will find her on Facebook streaming live every morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Join her every morning for encouragement Monday through Friday. She's also a speaker, she's an evangelist, she's a preacher. You can go to her page and you will find her information. You can also give to her ministry. She's open to receiving monetary gifts, resources, however you would like to be a part of what she does. She doesn't just preach, she just doesn't just pray. She's out in the community, helping people and doing things. She lives in the state of Illinois, Chicago, but she travels to other places. She has things going on with partners in other cities like St. Louis, here in Mississippi. She has things going on. So she's connected with a lot of people in foreign countries, in Africa. She's doing great things. So this is a great ministry that you can be a part of and be a blessing to people's lives. She is a disruptive thinker. And also, we have our transformation coach that's with us often. Miss Bernadette Hicks Kelly. The name of her business is Effective Transformation, and this is her information. Feel free to go onto Instagram, Ask Bern, on Facebook, Effective Transformation. Her website is effectivetransformation.com. You can reach her at any time if you need some coaching in your personal life, if you need some coaching in your business, if you need a mentor. Now, if you we're talking to what that age group, what's that age group that you're mentoring, Bernadette? I think you're muted. Hold on.
No, I was doing a special program with the age group of 19 to 40. So we're almost wrapped up with that program. So at this age, this time, any age is fine. So I was doing a special program for 19 to 40 because we was trying to take them to a higher income bracket.
Awesome, awesome. So that's her information. And of course, we have Ronald McCain, who's in the entertainment industry, the Harvest Worship Group. He's a music producer. He has some artists that he's signing and he's working with. If you have some songs, or you think you want to get into the music ministry and into the gospel music industry, then this is your person. And you can find him on Facebook, the Harvest Worship Group, YouTube, the Harvest Worship Group, and on Instagram, Harvest Worship. Ronald McCain Jr., ordinary people, but extraordinary.
All right.
What you talking about? That's what I'm talking about. So,
yes, all right.
So we have these people. I have been knowing them for 30 years or more. So I know where they came from and I know where they are now. They are legitimate. I support what they do because I believe in what they do, and they are having a great impact. And this is just the beginning, because I'm telling y'all, you're going to hear these names on a greater level. You know, we don't have to wait for nobody. We're waiting for people to give us an opportunity. You got opportunities.
Come on now.
Nobody to give you an opportunity.
Amen.
You have opportunities. I always refer back to Al Green. Now, y'all, I love the Lord, but I love Al Green too. Al Green, they asked Al Green when he was a young man, when he was getting his struggle. They said, Al Green, what do you think about? Well, how do you see life? He said, life is opportunities. Life is possibilities. And I'm telling you, that young Al Green went on to do some great things, traveled all over the world. Mm-hmm. See, I like listening to people who were disruptive thinkers. He started a revolution in R&B. There was nobody like Al Green. That's my opinion.
Love and happiness.
What you said, preacher?
Love will make it do right. I love it.
This has been great. Listen, you all, every time, these are my friends and I love them. I love who they are. They all unique. They are unique, but they bring such value and worth to my life. I just want to reiterate what Bernadette has said, Carol and Ron. You better surround yourself with some good people.
Yes.
You better surround all three of these people speak into my life. And they don't just speak, they show up. On that note,
you show up in ours. Let us make that very, very clear. That we don't just show up for you. You definitely are there for us. I'm telling you. So
yes, indeed.
Let the record speak for. Let the record be clear. Okay. That Dr. Cassandra Lee Washington. In case y'all didn't know her middle name, Dr. Cassandra Lee Washington is a woman of her word. You can take it to the bank, okay? So, Cassandra, thank you so much. I know we act silly from time to time, but I really, really appreciate the opportunity to be here on your platform with you all, with two amazing people, two amazing, wonderful, talented, and gifted individuals. I feel humbled and honored by just being here with you all. So thank you so much.
And I thank you guys for saying yes. And I knew it was gonna be good tonight with y'all, with you all, and then all three of you together. It was great. Well, you are. We're going to say good night, and we will be back. I will be back here next Thursday. This Jamie, don't be talking about Al Green. I hate when I bring up Al Green. Why people always have to bring up the grits? We're gonna let that go.
Girl, did she bring up the hot grits? Oh my goodness.
Change management.
Yes.
Change management. Lord have mercy. Yes, Bird. Yes.
We know what your passion is, Cassandra. Al Green.
Ooh. Oh.
Well, I tell you,
now you let everybody know that you are a romantic.
I am, and I'm not ashamed of it. I love it.
I know that's right.
Well, we're gonna say good night, y'all. It has been wonderful. I have thoroughly enjoyed, and my friends, I love you all, and continued blessings and prosperity in everything that you all put your hands to. I hope y'all disrupt every path every territory you go into, every place God allow you to step into, every room you go into, city, organization, business. Go up in there and just turn it upside down. And when you get through, it's gonna be better than it ever was before. It will never be the same again. On that note, good night and God bless.